Hi everyone, my name is Karen, this is my channel RatherBeReading, and today I'm bringing to you the Twas the Night Before Christmas book tag. Merry Christmas everyone! It is Christmas Eve here, and so today I am doing Twas the Night Before Christmas book tag. This book tag was created and I was tagged by Aoife from Fred Weasley Died Laughing, so you guys should definitely check out her video and her channel, which I will link down below for you guys to check out. I love Aoife's channel, so she's awesome. Definitely check her out. This tag is really creative. It takes the lyrics or words. Is Twas the Night Before Christmas a story or a song? I feel like it's a story. Anyway, it takes the lines from the story and it associates a question with them, so let's jump straight in. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. A book that kept you all night when everyone else was asleep. For this one, I am going with Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn, or Gillian Flynn. I'm not sure if you pronounce it with the hard G sound, but anyway, I'm going with Gone Girl. I do own a copy of this book, but I can't find it, which is very unusual for me. My books here on my shelf are arranged in alphabetical order by author surname, but it's not in with the Fs, and it's not on my favorite shelf because I checked there as well. I don't know where it is. I suspect maybe that I lent it to my sister and she hasn't given it back to me. So Sandra, if you're watching this, give it back. Anyway, Gone Girl was a book that was very engrossing, and I was also going to see the movie. That's when I read the book, was right before the movie came out, and I wanted to get the book read so that I could go see the movie. And it's one of those really involved stories that you just have to keep reading to find out exactly what's happening and what is going on, and I definitely stayed up late reading that book. And Mama in her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled our brains for a long winter's nap, a book that made you fall asleep. For this one, I'm going with The Shipping News by Annie Prolix? I'm sorry, I'm not sure how to pronounce the surname. I read this book, was it last year or even the year before, and I really didn't like it. I knew that a movie had been made of this book, and I haven't seen the movie, but I wanted to read the book, and I believe this book has won an award, like a big award. I can't for the life of me remember what it is, but that was another reason why I picked it up. And this book is boring, boring, boring. I really didn't like it. It's really boring, really boring, and I struggled to get through it. This was back when and I still don't really DNF very much, but I never DNF'd back then, so I pushed through it and I finished it, but I didn't enjoy it at all, and I definitely fell asleep a few times reading that book. When out on the roof there arose such a clatter that I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter, a book or book scene that made your heart race. For this one, I'm going with Second Child by John Saul. This is a book that I don't think I've ever spoken about on my channel. I read this when I was a lot younger, 14 or 15 maybe. It was my sister's, and she had a lot of creepier, scary books like this, and I read this one, and this is my favorite of his books that I read back then, and so I purchased this myself recently. I think it was last year, and I reread it last year, and I just really enjoyed this book. It is about a girl, I believe her name is Melissa. It doesn't say on the back, but I believe her name is Melissa, and she discovers, well, I think she's always known, but she's never met her, that her father has another child, another daughter from a previous marriage, and that girl's mother and stepfather are killed in a fire, and that girl comes to live with them, and then some kind of weird things start happening, and there's some kind of paranormal aspects in this book as well, and I just really enjoyed this book. It definitely gets your heart racing, especially when I was 14 and 15. I found this very creepy, and I just really enjoyed this book, and I definitely recommend picking it up if you like scarier books. When what to my wandering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer, an object in a book that was utterly magical, or a magical book. For this one, I could easily choose Harry Potter, but I'm not going to. I'm going to choose A Great and Terrible Beauty by Libba Bray. This is a book and a trilogy that I really, really enjoyed, and I definitely recommend picking up if you haven't. It follows a teenage girl, Gemma Doyle, who was raised in India, and her mother is killed kind of in weird circumstances, and so she is sent back to England to go to a girls' boarding school, and she kind of discovers there that she maybe, she has some kind of visions, and she has some kind of magical abilities, and this trilogy is just really great. It deals with a lot of, female empowerment, issues and like girls kind of discovering themselves and discovering who they are, and I just really enjoyed this trilogy and I definitely recommend it. So yeah, I'm going with A Great and Terrible Beauty by Libba Bray for this one. With a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be Saint Nick, a twinkle-eyed booked character that made you happy. For this one, I'm going with Nikolai Landstov from the Grisha trilogy. I've mentioned him a couple of times now on my channel. I really love Nikolai, and he is definitely, especially in this book, Siege and Storm, a really twinkly-eyed character. He's always cracking jokes and doesn't take anything too seriously. Like, that's the way he kind of comes across, and I really enjoy his character. He's a good time, and yes, I've gone with Nikolai Landstov. So up to the housetop the coursers they flew, with the sleigh full of toys, and St. Nicholas too, a book that made you fly to another land. Now, I didn't go with Harry Potter on that last question, but I have to go with Harry Potter on this question. J.K. Rowling has such a good writing style that you are just, when I read these when I was younger, when I read them the first time, I was so involved in the story. It was like I was standing watching it happen, like it was a part of my life. I was so absorbed in the world and the characters and just the whole shebang. And yeah, there's no book series I don't think ever, or there will ever be in the future, that I will ever be as involved in and feel as much involved in the story and the land as I did in this book. So yes, I'm going with Harry Potter for this one. And then in a twinkling, I heard on the roof the pawing and prancing of each little hoof, a book character that you love. Dobby. I got this one because I couldn't be bothered to pick up another Harry Potter book, and Dobby's not in this one, but Dobby. I love Dobby so much, and I mean, I would love to have a house elf as well. Like, I would pay them, and like they could like come and go as they please. Like, it would be like a nice arrangement. I wouldn't like treat them like a slave or anything, but if I had a house elf who like cooked and cleaned and did all the things for me that I don't like doing myself, that would be really awesome. But I also just really, really love Dobby, and the events that took place in Deathly Hallows surrounding Dobby broke my heart, as did a lot of events that took place in Deathly Hallows, but I couldn't pick any creature but Dobby for this one. He was dressed all in fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot, a character that proves to be more than his or her first impression. For this one, I'm going with Allie from the Pretty Little Liars series. I think that she's a lot more than what her first impressions show. When you read this series and you kind of first are discovering Allie as a character, you think that she's just your typical mean girl, to be honest. But as the series goes on, if you've read this, then you know she definitely is revealed to be a lot more than just your typical mean girl. And yeah, I wasn't really expecting that when I went into this series, and I definitely enjoy kind of discovering more about her character. I still have to read the last book in this series, which I really need to get to. But yeah, I'm going with Allie from Pretty Little Liars. He had a broad face and a round little belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. A book or book character that made you laugh. For this, I'm going with Faking It by Leah Marie Brown. This is a book that follows a girl who has lied to her fiance and kind of made it seem that she's a bit more pure than what she is. And when he finds out the truth, he breaks up with her, ends their engagement, and causes her to lose her job. And so her and her best friend decide to go on her biking honeymoon through the south of France, despite the fact that the engagement has been called off. And it's a really funny, like, humorous book, and I really enjoyed reading it. I laughed out loud several times. This is one of those really amusing, feel-good, kind of chick lit feel books that I just really enjoyed. So and the sequel is also really enjoyable, and there's a third book coming out soon which I really want to pick up. So definitely look into this series if you haven't. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. A book that makes you feel safe. I really didn't know what to answer for this question, because I don't really have any books that I kind of associate particularly with feeling safe. If I had to kind of think back to books that I read during a time in my life that I guess would think of as having felt really safe, which I guess would be my childhood, the books that I enjoyed most in my childhood was the Babysitter's Club books. I don't think I've talked about that on this channel, but I was obsessed with the Babysitter's Club. I don't anymore, but I owned every single book, and including not just the normal ones, but I had like the mysteries and the super mysteries and the super specials and all of them. I even had some of the like little sister books surrounding Karen, and I just really enjoyed these books. I wanted to be a babysitter because of Babysitter's Club, and I thought they were also mature and amazing, and I loved every single one of them, and I just really loved these books. So yeah, for this one I'm going to go with Babysitter's Club. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk. A book that put you to work, a book that made that you felt you really needed to concentrate on. For this one, I'm basically going with anything Jane Austen. I really enjoy Jane Austen. I've only got one of her books left to read, but they are classics, and they do have a more kind of difficult writing style if you're not used to classics, and you do have to concentrate on them a little bit more than what you do some more modern books. I definitely think it's worth it because I really enjoy her stories, Pride and Prejudice in particular, but you do have to concentrate, and they can be a little bit of work, and I know a lot of people don't like that and they don't want to have to think about it so much when they're reading, but if you don't mind having to concentrate a little bit to work out exactly what's going on and what's being said, then I definitely recommend picking up Jane Austen. Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night. A book with a magnificent ending. For this, I'm going with The Murder of Roger Ackroyd by Agatha Christie. I was literally mind blown when I read this book. It literally, still thinking about it, I'm still like, I can't believe that ending. It was really good. It was magnificent. It really was. And not only just because I think it would be a magnificent ending if it was written now, but for having been written in the time when Agatha Christie wrote this book, I think it's even more mind-blowing. I definitely recommend checking into Agatha Christie if you haven't read anything of hers, but if you like kind of like a lighter, like a fun mysteries, then definitely look into her, because I definitely think she's worth looking into, and I'm really glad that I started picking up some of her books this year. So that was the Twas the Night Before Christmas book tag. Thank you once again, Aoife, so much for tagging me. I had so much fun answering these questions. I'm not going to tag anyone only because, like, as I said, today is Christmas Eve and I'm hoping to get this video posted today, but as it's so close to Christmas, I'm not sure that anyone else will do this video. But if you do want to do this video, you definitely should, because I had a lot of fun with these questions. And yeah, I just would love to talk to you guys down in the comments about any answers that you have, or any of my answers, or just anything Christmassy, because I love Christmas and I'm so excited that it's Christmas tomorrow. I cannot wait. So Merry Christmas to all of you guys as well. Please like this video if you liked it. Please subscribe if you want to see more. That's all I've got for this video today. Bye guys.